Welcome back. We're about to talk about something that some might think of as a little taboo. Yes, we're going to talk about poo. April is IBS Awareness Month. Did you know upwards of 5 million Canadians suffer from irritable bowel syndrome? And according to a recent survey, 76% said their symptoms impact their lives on a daily basis. That's understandable. We have joining us today Dr. Marwaha, a doctor of Gastroenterology. Welcome, Dr. Marwaha. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me discuss this very important topic.
Doctor, how much does this impact a sufferer's life day to day? Walk us through it.
So it really does impact people's day-to-day life. Over 70 to 75% of people say that it affects their activities of daily living. I hear about it daily, and often people are very anxious, feel embarrassed about their symptoms. They can't do things that we often take for granted, including commuting to work, doing groceries, going to their child's baseball game, or even having to cancel dinners last minute if symptoms come up. A lot of patients feel they need to scope out all the toilets before leaving the house, so they decide not to go out. And so it really does affect day-to-day living for people. Up to 50% of people also have, missed their work, miss school because of their symptoms.
Can you imagine worrying about your commute because of this issue? It's quite extraordinary. So if I'm watching this, doctor, and I'm hearing what you're saying, I think I have some symptoms, but I'm not sure. What are the telltale signs in your opinion? What should we be looking for?
So first and foremost, the hallmark sign is abdominal pain or discomfort. This is a chronic issue. So it occurs at least once a week, so it can wax and wane, but up to once a week, at least for the last 3 to 6 months. And it's associated with defecation. So either, you get abdominal pain with a bowel movement or it improves with a bowel movement. Also with an increase or decreased frequency of bowel movement. So associated with either diarrhea, constipation, or a mix of both, and associated with a change in stool form. So often people will say, I have loose stool or pebble-like stool. And even though bloating is not part of the strict criteria, it often is one of the symptoms that people describe.
Doctor, obviously over the last year, people's stress and anxiety levels have gone through the roof. Does that move this syndrome along, do you think? What role does stress play in this?
So definitely, there are different triggers to IBS. We don't know the exact underlying cause, but there's various triggers, and definitely psychological factors affect patients in up to 60% of cases. So underlying anxiety, underlying stress or depression can contribute. Some people have noticed increased bowel movements or increased symptoms with certain dietary triggers, specifically highly fermentable sugars. So there's a lot of different causes, and therefore treatments can differ. The microbiome is also a big subject, and that can be altered in patients with IBS. And up to 15% of people who have IBS have what we call post-infectious IBS. So if you've ever had food poisoning, if you've ever traveled and had a gastrointestinal infection, that also does increase your risk of having symptoms.
Let's talk treatment, doctor, before we let you go here. I'm watching this. I think I have what you're talking about. This does affect my life in negative ways. What's the first thing I should do?
First thing you should do is don't suffer in silence. Unfortunately, we don't talk about this enough. And so therefore, thank you for shedding light on this. We easily talk about having a headache. We don't easily talk about not being able to leave the bathroom. So speak up early. Speak to your family physician if you don't feel comfortable talking to anybody else. Speak up completely. Keep a journal of your symptoms, or there's IBS apps available as well. And that way you're able to trigger any potential, you're able to identify any potential triggers to your symptoms if you're able to monitor them. And speak up often. So if treatment has been started, it's not working for you, book a follow-up. But more importantly, speak up, period, because people are suffering in silence. There's nothing to be ashamed about, and we do need to talk about it more openly.
I think we've helped some people today, Dr. Marwaha. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If you want more information on this, flushingoutibs.ca. They got plenty of information there. I'll say it again, flushingoutibs.ca. Over to Faiza, who's standing by with some news. Faiza?
Well, Sid, doctors are sounding the alarm as ICUs are becoming overwhelmed. Coming up, we speak with an infectious diseases specialist as the province battles the third wave.